When I started working multi-geos in different projects, I asked myself this question: why is it so hard for people to manage difficult conversations in the labor force, especially in call centers and BPOs? Do you know that 70% of the employees in our industry avoid to have those difficult conversations with their bosses, with their team members, with their clients? Actually, 53% of management and staff in our industry decide to ignore those difficult and toxic situations because they don't want to have those difficult conversations, or they don't know how to. And these are facts coming from a survey from Quantum Workplace. This is sad, disappointing, and very concerning. We're talking about the impact of not having those difficult conversations is very high, not only in the revenue stream for your country development, client experience, because performance is going to go down most likely, rotation is going to increase, and the employee engagement and morale is going to be destroyed. In my last video, we talked about 10 different strategies that you can introduce in your day-to-day to help you dive into those difficult conversations in your role. If you haven't watched that video, the link is below. Today, we're going to talk about 5 different mistakes that managers usually do by managing difficult conversations in their labor force, and what to do instead, with the intention of give you tools and guidance so you can navigate through those differently next time, and your team members as well when you share this with them. Number 1, avoidance. And you're gonna say, well, Christy, we have been talking about avoiding difficult conversations and avoiding difficult situations in the labor force for a while now. Yes, that's the number 1 problem of leadership development, not only junior leadership, but also when you move from one position to the other. The more you grow, you're gonna have more exposure with other departments inside or outside your country. That's gonna include training, compliance, security, IT, whatever it is. We're talking about people being rude, not only with you, but with your teams. Disrespectful, offensive, profanity, harassment, gossip. Yes, gossip. Verbal abuse, favoritism, ethical issues, and you can name it. For me, and the intention of this video is to have the awareness that if these things happens to you, would you like that your manager or your supervisor don't do anything about it? It's not the organization only. It's actually the people who creates the environment. So even though it's very tempting to just ignore the something is going on, problems are not just going to disappear, guys. Actually, it can escalate the situation in a very high level. So what to do instead? Face and accept that there is a situation that needs to be addressed and look for the options to resolve it. As leaders, we are problem solvers. Number 2, lack of preparation. Yes. When you're about to face a difficult conversation, you need to be prepared. Those conversations, especially if it's people with certain attitudes, you need to understand both points. You need to stop, sit down, and take a couple minutes to understand the whole situation from different views and perspectives. Remove yourself out of the situation so you can see things in different perspectives. Not only as the direct report of that person, if it's impacting you directly or if it's impacting the client, how is that person going to receive this? Going to difficult conversation without the acknowledgement of what is the problem or what is the real issue is going to be catastrophic, because you're not going to foresee what other things can happen and what is going to be the impact. Number 3, emotional reaction. Guys, you have no idea how many times I have seen managers, supervisors, directors that they just lost it, and allowing those emotions to just blow. If you're upset, if you are irritated, those triggers are going to be a huge obstacle for you to actually manage those uncomfortable conversations. When you lead those conversations, it's very important that you understand that you are not part of that situation. Even though you are, you have to remove that thought like, oh, it's personal. And having that emotional maturity to actually understand what is what you want to accomplish by having those uncomfortable conversations. At the end of the day, if somebody comes to you being rude, if they are being sarcastic, if there is discrimination, those are things that you cannot allow in your teams, either for you or other people. Those things needs to be addressed, and it's your responsibility to create that safe environment for your people as well. Loyalty and trust does not create themselves magically. You have to put the steps through with actions. So you have to be congruent. But if you are becoming defensive, if you are being angry, you're gonna lose perspective. And instead of going through what are the solutions here, this is what we're gonna do next, you're gonna just lost it. It's gonna be a waste of time. People are gonna be more frustrated. And then what did you accomplish? Nothing. It's not about who yells louder. Power and authority is nothing to do with yelling or being out of your emotional state of mind. It's whoever learned how to control and regulate their emotions who is going to actually be able to see what are going to be the next steps. Number 4, you are not listening. For some reason, you are defensive and you already put your mind together or your emotions or your feelings. Then this is a mistake that is going to go the long way. You have to be able to listen. Bring your notepad, your computer, create the space and the environment as we mentioned in the last video. But you need to shut down your internal talking and actually listen to the others people objectively. Facts, questions, real examples, so they can use, so you understand what is exactly what is going on and set the tone. I'm gonna give you an example. Be somebody that came up with a sexual harassment case, and then it might be a bigger problem. By not listening, you are not going to understand what is the root cause, who is or what is the group of people that is actually allowing these behaviors or promoting these behaviors. So it's your responsibility to dig into it with whoever is going to be involved in these conversations objectively. And the only way you can do that is by being able to listen. You can catch also if somebody's lying or not. Remember, we don't only listen words, we listen and observe the body language as well, which speaks louder than words. Number 5, reflecting the responsibility of actually understanding the situation. What does that mean, Christy? When you go somewhere and you said, okay, I know what I'm going to do anyways, I'm just going to do it just because, you are not really seeking for an understanding of what is going on. Somebody comes to you and said, my manager XYZ is having some favoritism. Ask the questions, understand how the open policy works, and being able to listen, because sometimes you might be surprised. The truth always comes. Failure to seek an understanding of the whole situation just because you just make up your mind can be very dangerous. You can actually tend to blame some other person without having all the facts. So instead of being an exchange, looking into what is really causing this uncomfortable situation, what are we going to do to make sure this stops, then you're going to be in the other side, being part of this uncomfortable situation. Does that make sense? Leave me your comment here, because these are very sensitive topics. So what to do instead, Christy? Well, foster collaborative point of views, avoid the blame, get solutions, encourage the dialogue, ask different questions. In the next video, we're going to go through different questions, phrases, and words that you can use in your day-to-day, in your role, with your client, with your people, within the organization, to help you navigate through those difficult conversations differently next time, so do not miss it. A bonus tip that I want to give you today: follow up and document. Let me give you an example. I remember a time in one country that I was working on, we identified there was cheating going on, ethical issues, right? Cheating on the system. That's a no-no. That not only is against meritocracy, but that destroys employee experience all the way. After different investigations, I figured out it was the supervisor who actually was promoting this behavior consciously. So we did what we have to do. However, it was very important to foster that level of communication within the group, within the client, internally with the client relationship person, escalated, but also set up a documentation with different departments. Each company, each BPO and call center works differently. I'm just sharing one example so you understand that it's part of your role to manage, address, and cut any kind of uncomfortable situation that can put your team, your client, your company, and your job in jeopardy. Because if you don't, you are not a good leader. After we provide what was the expectation and take the actions that we needed to take care of, then we follow up. We make sure that whatever was agreed, discussed, and the plan achieved was done. You need to inspect it and document it as well. Despite how hard it can be to have difficult conversations in your life, in your personal life, in your career, it is important to address those difficult situations, especially in the labor force, especially if you're leading a team, not only to promote understanding, growth, but an organizational culture of values, real values that open up dialogue, feedback, merit, and can help individuals to actually grow in their careers instead of feeling frustrated and stuck. The call center and BPOs are not going anywhere. This is a very solid industry, especially in Latin American, Caribbean countries. So I invite you to create a supportive, empowering environment within your teams, your client, and your organization by having those uncomfortable conversations within your role, your teams, and you're going to see how the potential of your groups are going to just explode in a positive way. And remember to like this video if you like it, share it with other leaders in the industry who are determined to have those difficult conversations and they might not know how to do it. And subscribe. And if you are ready to unlock the secrets, techniques, methodologies to become an impactful, powerful communicator in your industry, if the answer is yes, contact me today so you can sign up in Supercharge Your Communication Powers Bootcamp in Santo Domingo, Dominican Republic, August 19. However, all free bonuses that I include for this launch offer are gonna be for people subscribing until July 15. So make sure that you secure your spot today. Do not miss this incredible opportunities. And remember, you can be the change that you want to see in others. I cannot wait to see you. Ciao, ciao.